pause for a moment and be honest with yourself. Are you really eating healthy, or do you just believe you are? Every day, millions of people wake up determined to do everything right. They choose fit foods, buy light products, prepare that breakfast with granola, yogurt, and fresh juice. And still, the weight doesn't go down. In fact, it goes up, slowly, silently, bringing frustration, killing motivation, and making you wonder, what am I doing wrong? The truth might sting a little, but it needs to be said. There are foods, actually, many of them, that seem healthy, but are sabotaging your weight loss every single day. And the worst part? You're probably consuming at least one of them regularly, believing you're on the right path. The problem isn't just what you eat. It's what you've been led to believe about food. The food industry doesn't sell. It sells the perception of health. Attractive labels, green packaging, promises of wellness, all of it creates a powerful illusion. And while you trust it, your body responds differently. Storing fat, increasing hunger, and slowing down your results. But here's the good news. Once you understand the game, everything changes. In this content, you're going to open your eyes to the most common mistakes that seem harmless, but are holding back your progress. You'll discover these fake healthy foods, how they affect your body, and most importantly, how to replace them intelligently, without extremes, without suffering. If you truly want to lose weight, you first need to see the truth, and it starts now. The healthy illusion. What eating healthy really means. Eating healthy isn't just about choosing foods that look clean or come with appealing labels. It means giving your body real nutrients in the right amount while balancing calories, satiety, and food quality. A food can be nutritious, but if consumed in excess, it can still lead to weight gain. Health isn't just about what you eat. It's about how much and how you eat it. This is where many people go wrong. They confuse healthy eating with eating without consequences. How marketing influences your choices. The food industry deeply understands human behavior. It knows that words like light, natural, and fit trigger a sense of safety. Green packaging, images of fruit, and healthy-looking people create an automatic association with wellness. But that doesn't always reflect the reality of the product. Many times, you're not buying a healthy food. You're buying an idea that's been strategically sold to you. Misleading words, light, natural, whole grain. These terms are experts at creating confusion. Light may simply mean a reduction in one component, not necessarily fewer calories. Natural doesn't automatically mean healthy. Sugar is natural too, and whole grain often appears on products that contain only a small percentage of whole flour mixed with refined flour. In other words, trusting these words alone can cost you your results. The difference between healthy and weight loss. Not everything that's healthy leads to weight loss. Avocados, nuts, and olive oil are great for your health, but they're also calorie dense. If your goal is to lose weight, you need to consider a calorie deficit. Many people gain weight eating healthy foods in excess because they ignore this distinction. Weight loss requires strategy, not just good intentions. The mistake of trusting the label alone. Labels are a tool, but they shouldn't be your only source of Many packages highlight the positives while hiding the negatives in fine print. Sugars under different names. Excess sodium and additives often go unnoticed. If you don't read the full nutrition facts, it's easy to be misled. The industry behind fit foods. The fitness market is worth billions. Healthy products are often created not to improve your health, but to generate profit. They're designed to be tasty, addictive, inconvenient, often packed with additives, hidden sugars, and high calories. This leads you to consume more than you need without even realizing it. Why, you think you're doing it right? But you're not! You follow advice online, buy recommended products, try to stay disciplined, yet the results don't come. overcome. That creates frustration and self-doubt. The problem isn't a lack of effort, it's a lack of clarity. You're playing the game with the wrong rules, and until you understand that, you'll stay stuck in the same cycle. Chapter conclusion. The illusion of healthy is one of the biggest obstacles to weight loss. Before changing your diet, you need to change your perception, because only those who can see the mistake can correct the path. Processed fit foods. What are processed fit foods? Processed fit foods are products designed to look healthy, convenient, and aligned with a balanced lifestyle. They often come with claims like low calorie, zero sugar, or high protein. The problem is that many of these products go through intense industrial processing, losing nutritional quality while gaining additives, preservatives, and flavor enhancers. In other words, not everything labeled fit actually supports weight loss. Cereal bars, sugar in disguise. Cereal bars are one of the biggest examples of deception. They seem light, convenient, and healthy, but many are loaded with sugar, just under different names like glucose syrup, maltodextrin, or inverted sugar. In practice, you're eating something very close to candy, with little satiety. The result? You get hungry quickly and feel the urge to eat more throughout the day. Zero yogurts and hidden sweeteners. Zero sugar yogurts seem like the perfect choice, but they often hide artificial sweeteners. These sweeteners can increase cravings for sweets and disrupt your body's natural satiety signals. On top of that, many yogurts contain thickeners, colorings, and flavorings that add little to your health. The zero on the label doesn't always mean better. Whole grain cookies, not always whole. Many people swap regular cookies for whole grain ones, believing they're making a healthier choice. But in reality, many of these products contain more refined flour than whole grain. The term whole grain can be used even when the actual amount is minimal. Plus, they're still ultra-processed foods, often packed with sugar, fat, and low satiety. Ready-made granola and excess calories. Store-bought granola seems harmless, but it's extremely calorie-dense. Even small portions can contain a high number of calories due to added sugar, honey, and oils. The problem is that most people don't stick to the recommended serving size. The result: a food seen as healthy ends up directly contributing to excess daily calorie intake. The hyperpalatability effect. These products are engineered to be extremely tasty, crunchy, sweet, and highly enjoyable. This is called hyperpalatability. The more flavorful and easy to eat something is, the more likely you are to overconsume it. Your brain receives intense pleasure signals, which weakens your natural satiety control. How these foods increase your hunger. Contrary to what it seems, many fit foods actually increase hunger instead of controlling it. That's because they're often low in real fiber and protein and high in sugars and additives. The result is energy spikes followed by quick crashes, leading to more cravings. It's a silent cycle. You eat thinking you're helping yourself, but in reality, you're making your appetite even stronger. Chapter conclusion. Processed fit foods are not the enemy by themselves, but blindly trusting them is a mistake. The more natural and simple your diet is, the better your results will be. Because in the end, it's not the label that makes you lose weight, it's the strategy behind what you eat. Chapter 3. Fruits. Healthy, but with limits. The role of fruits in your diet. Fruits are, without a doubt, healthy and important foods. They provide essential vitamins, minerals, fiber, and antioxidants that support your body's proper function. The problem isn't eating fruit, it's how you eat it. Many people believe that because fruits are natural, they can be consumed without limits, and that's where the mistake begins. Even healthy foods require balance. What fructose is, and how it affects your body. Fructose is the natural sugar found in fruits. Unlike glucose, it is primarily metabolized in the liver in small amounts. This isn't an issue. But when consumed in excess, especially throughout the day, it can contribute to fat accumulation, particularly around the abdominal area. In other words, even though it's natural, it's still sugar and needs to be managed. Higher calorie fruits and their impact. Not all fruits have the same calorie content. Bananas, mangoes, grapes, and avocados, for example, are more calorie-dense than strawberries, melons, or apples. This doesn't mean you should avoid them, but you do need to be mindful of portions. Eating multiple servings throughout the day can easily increase your calorie intake without you realizing it. The mistake of eating fruit without control. One of the most common mistakes is treating fruit as a free snack. People think, it's healthy, I can eat as much as I want, and end up consuming large amounts throughout the day. This excess adds up in total calories, making weight loss more difficult. The issue isn't the fruit, it's the lack of control. Fruits alone versus combined with other foods. Eating fruit on its own can cause quicker spikes in blood sugar, especially for those who are more sensitive. When combined with sources of protein or fat like plain yogurt or nuts, digestion slows down, increasing satiety and reducing those spikes. Small strategies can make a big difference in your results. Fruit juice versus whole fruit. This is one of the biggest silent mistakes. When you turn fruit into juice, you remove much of its fiber. This causes the sugar to be absorbed much faster by your body. On top of that, it's easy to consume multiple fruits in a single glass of juice, significantly increasing your calorie intake. Eating whole fruit is always the better option. How to consume fruit the smart way? The key is balance. Eat fruit in moderate amounts. Prefer it in its natural form. Vary the types and avoid overconsumption throughout the day. Fruit should complement your diet, not dominate it. When used strategically, they help. Without control, they can hold you back. Chapter Conclusion. Fruits are not villains, but they're not unlimited either. The secret to weight loss isn't cutting things out, but understanding them. Because even healthy foods, when misused, can become obstacles to your results. Chapter 4. Granola and the False Naturals. Why granola seems healthy. Granola has earned a healthy reputation because it's associated with natural ingredients like oats, nuts, and dried fruits. It's also commonly featured in fitness diets, perfect breakfasts, and healthy lifestyle content. The problem is that this image doesn't always match reality. Granola may contain good ingredients, but how it's prepared and consumed completely changes its impact on your body. Hidden ingredients in processed granola. Most store-bought granolas contain ingredients that go unnoticed. Syrups, added sugars, refined oils, and preservatives are very common. These components are often disguised under technical names, making them harder to identify. As a result, a product that looks simple and natural can actually be highly processed. Added sugar, honey, and oils. To make granola more flavorful and crunchy, manufacturers add sugar, honey, or other sweeteners, along with oils. This significantly increases the calorie content. Even honey, often seen as healthy, is still a form of sugar. The result is a calorie-dense mix that's very easy to high calories in small portions. This is one of the most critical points. Granola is a small portion can contain a large number of calories, yet most people don't stick to the recommended serving size. It's common to add just a little more to yogurt or fruit, and that small extra repeated daily makes a big difference over time. Lack of satiety. Despite containing fiber, many granolas don't provide the level of fullness people expect. This happens because the balance between carbohydrates, fats, and proteins isn't always ideal. The result, you eat, feel temporary satisfaction, and soon feel hungry again, leading to more food intake throughout the day. combinations that increase calories even more. Granola is rarely eaten on its own. It's usually combined with yogurt, fruit, honey, or even chocolate. Individually, these foods can be healthy, but together, they create a high-calorie meal without realizing it. What seemed like a light option turns into a calorie-heavy dish, making weight loss more difficult. How to choose or make a healthier version? The best strategy is simple. Reduce your reliance on processed versions and, if possible, make your own granola. This way, you control the ingredients and avoid excess sugar and fats. If you choose to buy it, read labels carefully and look for options with fewer ingredients and no added sugars. The key is simplicity and portion control. Chapter Conclusion. Granola itself isn't the problem. How it's made and consumed is. What looks healthy can easily become an obstacle when used without awareness. Because when it comes to weight loss, it's not enough to choose good foods. You need to know how to use them wisely. Chapter 5. Natural juice. A common mistake. Why juice seems healthy. Natural juice is often seen as a very healthy choice. It comes from fruit, feels fresh, and looks like a better option compared to soda or processed drinks. And in some ways, it really is. The issue is not the juice itself, but how it's usually consumed, often in large amounts, and sometimes replacing whole fruit. What happens during the process? When fruit is turned into juice, it changes its structure. Whole fruit contains elements that help your body process it more slowly. In juice form, this balance is different, especially when it's strained, a quicker source of energy. Juice delivers energy to the body more quickly than whole fruit. Well, that's not necessarily bad. It can feel less satisfying over time compared to eating the fruit itself. Why you may feel hungry sooner. Because juice is light and easy to consume, it may not keep you full for long. After drinking it, you might feel the need to eat again sooner than expected. Easy to drink, more than needed. One glass of juice can include several fruits, while eating multiple fruits at once might feel like a lot. Drinking them is quick and effortless. This can lead to consuming more than you realize. Whole fruit versus juice. Whole fruit takes more time to eat and usually feels more filling. Juice, on the other hand, is fast and doesn't require much effort. Because of that, it may not feel as satisfying. A more balanced approach. A simple strategy is to focus on whole fruits most of the time. Juice can still be part of your routine, but in smaller amounts and not as a replacement for fruit. Balance is key. Chapter Conclusion. Natural juice isn't the problem. It's how it's used. With a little awareness and balance, you can make better choices without needing to cut it out completely. Chapter 6. Whole wheat bread and carbohydrates. The myth of whole wheat bread. Whole wheat bread is often seen as a better option for those trying to lose weight. Many people make a simple switch. They stop eating white bread and start eating whole wheat without changing anything else. But here's the key point. That change alone doesn't guarantee weight loss. Whole wheat bread may have better nutritional value, but it's still a calorie-dense food rich in carbohydrates. Real whole wheat versus fake whole wheat. Not all whole wheat bread is truly whole grain. Many products use a small amount of whole wheat flour mixed with refined white flour just to justify the label. Some even use coloring, like molasses or caramel, to make the bread look darker and more natural. Real whole wheat bread lists whole wheat flour as the first ingredient and usually has a simpler ingredient list. How it affects your energy levels. Carbohydrate foods, including whole wheat bread, can provide quick energy. However, depending on the type and combination, that energy may not last long. This can influence how full and satisfied you feel after eating. Quantity versus quality. Improving quality matters, but controlling quantity is essential. Eating large amounts of whole wheat bread can still impact your progress. Many people think It's whole grain, so I can eat more and end up overdoing it. The result is a higher calorie intake, even with a better food choice. Common, high-calorie combinations. Bread is rarely eaten alone. It's often paired with butter, margarine, cheese, deli meats, or spreads. These combinations can significantly increase the total calories of a meal. A simple piece of bread can quickly turn into a much heavier option, especially when eaten multiple times a day. The role of carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are not the enemy. They are an important source of energy and part of a balanced diet. The issue is excess and lack of planning. For better results, it's important to balance carbs with protein, fiber, and healthy fats. The focus should be on the overall diet, not just one food. How to include it wisely. A balanced approach works best. Choose breads that are truly whole grain. Watch portion sizes and combine them with foods that help you feel fuller, like protein sources. Avoid eating on autopilot and be mindful of how often you include it in your routine. Awareness is what turns a common food into either a helpful choice or a setback. Chapter Conclusion. Whole wheat bread isn't the villain, but it's not a magic solution either. The mistake is believing that simply switching the type of bread will fix everything. In the end, your results are shaped not by a single food, but by the sum of your choices. Chapter 7. Natural foods that mislead plus the solution. Honey, brown sugar, and raw sugar. These types of sugar are often seen as healthier alternatives. Honey, for example, is natural and contains small amounts of nutrients. Brown sugar and raw sugar go through less processing. But here's the key point. They are still sugar. From a calorie standpoint, their effect is very similar to regular white sugar. Simply replacing one with another without controlling the amount doesn't solve the problem. Coconut oil and hidden calories. Coconut oil has become a symbol of healthy eating, often linked to benefits like energy and metabolism support. However, it is very calorie dense. Just like any other oil, even a small amount can add up quickly. When used without awareness, it can significantly increase daily calorie intake, even though it's considered natural. The myth that natural doesn't lead to weight gain. This is one of the biggest misconceptions. There's a strong belief that anything natural can be consumed freely, but the body doesn't distinguish between natural and processed. When it comes to energy, it responds to total intake. Consuming large amounts of natural foods can still lead to weight gain. Natura doesn't cancel out excess. Calories still matter, regardless of where food comes from. Overall intake remains important. Consuming more than your body needs can lead to weight gain over time. Many people struggle because they improve food quality but overlook quantity. The importance of balance. The key isn't cutting everything out, it's balance. You can include honey, use coconut oil, and enjoy natural foods, as long as there is awareness. Balance allows consistency, and consistency is what drives real results. Extreme approaches tend to fail. Balanced strategies tend to work. How to build a smarter way of eating. A smarter approach focuses on simple, less processed foods with a good balance of nutrients. Prioritizing protein, including fiber, managing carbohydrates, and using fats in moderation are all important. Paying attention to portions and avoiding unnoticed excess makes a real difference. A practical path without self-sabotage. The path is simpler than it seems, but it requires awareness. It's not about eliminating everything. It's about understanding what truly works. Eating with intention, avoiding common traps, and staying consistent are what lead to real progress. Small changes, done the right way, can create lasting results over time. Chapter Conclusion. The biggest mistake isn't eating the wrong foods. It's believing you're doing everything right when you're not. When you understand that, natural doesn't mean unlimited. You gain real control. And that's when progress stops being a struggle and starts becoming a result. we've reached the end. But the truth is, this can be the beginning of a real transformation. Now you understand something most people never realize. The problem wasn't just your discipline, your willpower, or your effort. It was what you believed was right. Healthy foods that, in practice, were quietly holding you back every single day. And once you see that, everything changes. You stop falling into traps. You start making choices with awareness. Your body responds better. And weight loss stops feeling like a constant struggle and starts becoming a strategic process. But here's an important point. Knowledge without action doesn't create results. If you want to keep learning how to lose weight in a smart way, without falling into common mistakes, and without wasting time on strategies that don't work, then it's time to take the next step. Subscribe to the channel now, because here you find direct practical content that actually makes a difference in your results. And it doesn't stop there. Visit the Light Body Project blog, where you'll find deeper content, complete guides, and strategies to accelerate your transformation even more. The decision is in your hands. You can keep doing what you've always done and get the same results, or you can apply what you've learned today and finally change the game. See you in the next content.